let the roll call show that all of the Board of Education members are here, and Marissa, will you please account for everything else? Thank you. Looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor? We have our agenda. Minutes. Sent out for the weekend.
Second.
Discussion, any comments? All in favor? We have our minutes. Public participation. Is anyone from the public here to speak? Okay, we have public. Please introduce yourselves. I have to read a spiel, and then introduce yourselves, where you're from, and so on. Public participation. Members of the public and staff may bring to the committee's attention information, ideas, or matters of concern related to all the duties and responsibilities of this committee. This committee will not allow comments regarding specific staff members or personal grievances. The time for individual remarks will be apportioned according to the number of speakers and will be limited to 5 minutes per speaker unless approved by the chair. Please.
Sure. My name is Agata Parrott. I live in Torrington. I have 3 children in 3 different schools: high school, middle school, and intermediate. Anything else? I don't know. I teach Pilates, something like that. Okay.
Where should I stand? So, yeah, oh, your internet, I wasn't seeing.
You can stand up there.
Okay, sure. My name is Kaylee Blakesley. I am a mom to a kindergartner here at Southwest School and a 4th grader who formerly attended Torrington. So first I would like to say that I have nothing but absolutely wonderful things to say about our experience at Torrington and Southwest. Beautiful. The women who run, the team who runs Torrington helped my child so much. He suffered with anxiety. We were school avoidant. I thought I would lose my mind and I would have to quit my job. And they said, "Well, we'll help you. We'll get Clark to law school," and they did. And so he was so excited to go to TIS. Now Anna was really nervous to go to Southwest because for 4 years we were part of the Torrington Tiger family, but she is now really loves Southwest, and Peter is amazing, and he's an excellent administrator. The teaching staff here is phenomenal. It's a beautiful facility. We are so happy here. But what I would like to address is... Sorry?
Great PTO too.
Oh yeah, I am on the PTO. So, but I'm not here in that capacity. I'm here in the capacity as a mom, and I just am here to address the Torrington Intermediate School playground / lack thereof situation. And I understand that I don't see Principal or Superintendent Wilson, but I understand that the plan was never to have a playground available this year. However, where is the playground going to go? What's the plan? Because there's 3 Gaga pits that have been purchased, and they've been at the school for at least 5 weeks, and they're not out yet. So for 938 kids, there's 4 basketball hoops, which are on loan from Pell. There's maybe 2 soccer balls. There's a fitness trail that the kids can't reach. My son does not have recess until 2:15 in the afternoon. He's expected to sit in school all day from 8 a.m. until 2:15. He is not with anybody he knows from Torrington. I know it's a transition year. However, this has been in the works for 3 or 4 years, and I'm just wondering, I know there was a grant that we did not get, so when you write a grant, you have to be very specific, right? What was intended to be purchased with the money, and where was the playground going to go? Because it's my understanding that it can't go on the soccer fields, and I don't know about the baseball area. So it's hard not to feel like we were sold something that doesn't exist. So extremely happy with Torrington Elementary Schools. And I will tell you that I'm a high school teacher in a neighboring district who receives many students from Torrington who have very negative things to say, and I have always supported Torrington. My husband is from here and went here. That's why I chose to live here for the last 25 years. That's why I chose not to move to Litchfield, where I'm from, and where I was educated. I believe that my husband's generation received a better education than I did in Torrington versus Litchfield. My niece and nephew graduated from Torrington Public Schools. They're 28 and 24. They received a phenomenal education. I've never had a bad word to say about the education of the teachers here and the students who come to me. I say, it's like a pair of shoes that just wasn't the right fit. And sometimes they go back to Torrington because we need choice. But I'm very worried about Torrington Intermediate School. It's, my son went in so excited. They have the 4th graders in the 8th grade wing. There's nothing visible different from it being in 8th grade. It feels really developmentally inappropriate to me. So I hope this doesn't count as a personal grievance. I'm here to offer help and support. I will have an army of moms to help with whatever you need. And anyone who knows me over the last 4 years knows that I will do anything to support the schools. I'm not asking you to do anything. I will do it. I would like to know what the plan is and how I can help. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public? There's someone from the public.
Hi, it's nice to meet you.
Yes, you can. Please come up here. Speak loudly because I have old ears.
I'm Laura Kovacs. I've written an essay for the Board of Education about elementary school history, and I'm going to read it. Dear Board of Education, I feel like students should have a history lesson as a part of their school day. Let me explain why. Students should be having a history lesson as a part of their day because it is important to share history to make sure it is not forgotten, as one of my family members says. We must share history so it doesn't repeat itself. In fifth grade, students are learning about the Bill of Rights, which is history and is very important to learn about, but there is so much more to be learned. For instance, the World Wars, 9/11, the moon landing, etc. We should be having a lesson during students' ELA or science time because it is the time where we usually do reading and writing. Both grades should be learning about history, maybe 4th grade a little calmer, 5th grade a little more serious, and younger grades more learning about other topics. I know many kids who would be very interested in learning about history because they have heard stories from a family member, a book, or a friend's story about history. Another reason is because we need to learn how we got where we are and why we live the way we do. Please put this into consideration so history won't be forgotten. Students may also want to have a history lesson to show their classmates their family history or diversity, because I know many students who like sharing their culture with friends, talking about their family history. History teaches about perspectives as well, which can help students understand the reactions of how these people or things would react during something serious. History also teaches students the reality of life, such as racism, that people still face today, and what you fight for can matter more than you think. It also teaches students how to survive during a serious situation. Through history, students can learn about how almost anything was invented. They could learn about how M&Ms were invented or how the shoe was invented. They could also learn about their school's history or their town's history. Teachers might not know how to teach history to keep students entertained, but there are plenty of ideas. Teachers could have students read about historical events or a person and act out the scene that they read about to the class as a visual representation. Also, if teachers get tired of teaching, they could also set up a quiz for their students, such as Kahoot, which many teachers do in other subjects in elementary school. Teachers could also have a show and tell one day where students could bring an item from their ancestors or just a historical relic they have in their household and give its history or show what it does to the class. With my history being in elementary school, I've noticed that during kindergarten through 3rd grade, we never learned about basic historical events, only social studies that happened around once a week. Most children's brains will also improve to connect with others because with history comes geography. So if students know geography, then they can tell where places on a map to help other kids with their struggles. I've also noticed in elementary school social studies is part of a child's school day, but they most likely only do it once a week. It mostly teaches kids about how things were made, for instance, chocolate or paper, and never really talks about the past, like Athens or ancient Rome. In conclusion, I call on you to add a 30-minute lesson on history in an elementary student's day to boost their information about the past.
Now, to the people who spoke, you don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting. Thank you for your input. The assistant superintendent is here and has heard everything, and will refer to the input.
Oh.
Thank you. Oh, you can stay. I mean, please stay, but you don't feel you have to.
Don't leave your comments for the next meeting. Thank you.
And under through the agenda. Early elementary school reports. Today we're doing the grades pre-K through 3 schools. And before that, school improvement committee makes a tour, members of the committee go through. Kristen, would you please report under visits at Torrington?
Sure. I went to Torrington on Halloween. The kids were all dressed up in their character outfits, which was awesome to see. But a couple things I did learn is the Torrington, well, now that it's a K-3 school, it has 460 students, which is down about 200 from previous years when it was a K-5 school. Also, there's 120 staff. Used to be 100, so the staff to student ratio is a little better. They do house 2 life skills and 3 voices classes, as well as a full day pre-K, as well as 22% special ed all at Torrington. The full day pre-K, the full day kindergarten is a full experience for these students. Busing, lunch, recess, specials, the whole thing. One thing I did learn is that busing is still delayed. They have a start time of 8:45 and the last buses are arriving at 9:10. That is not good. Our students are missing out on 25 minutes of education. And they do have buses coming as late as 4:12. So it has improved, but not great, and they are paying overtime for those staff to stay late. The math program is going very well, I'm told. I got to see some of the vertical boards in action. They are in every classroom now. It focuses on student-centered instructions. Let's see, attendance is improving drastically due to the efforts of Mrs. Galoro and Mrs. Austin. They do have a program where some of their families can sign up for a food bag on Fridays. Some families who need some assistance throughout the weekend, which was nice. I actually got to see that. One of our board members actually dropped off the food as I was leaving, so that was nice. And there was 3 families that were going to sign up but hadn't signed up in time, so we provided extra food for them, which was awesome. Let's see, the age change for kindergarten has shown that they are better prepared for kindergarten. The student service supervisor is covering all 3 schools and pre-K, so it's a little, she's a little stretched. Let's see, I got to see some classrooms, like I said, the vertical boards, the flexible seating, different ways to solve math. I got to see some double facts. It was a really nice visit. Thank you to Kelly and Georgia for your hospitality and spending an hour and a half of your time with me. it was great, and I really appreciate it. And beautiful school, teachers seemed in good spirits, the staff, loved it.
Thank you. Bill and I went to Vogel, Wetmore, and Southwest. Bill will report on Vogel, Wetmore.
Last Wednesday, John and I went to Vogel, Wetmore and met with their new principal, Alden Pay, who seems to be settling in very nicely to her new role. We toured some of the classrooms, looking at the different subjects that they were learning. One of the things that I thought was really interesting was out of the box teaching for English as ELL students, the English language students, how they were drawing pictures with the words and gesturing and using strategies like that to get the students to learn the words and to be able to use them properly. We also went into classrooms where the principal was giving out awards to some of the students who were very, they were getting awards for being respectful on the bus on the ride either to school or the ride home from school. Things seem to be going well, and John and I had a good time.
Thank you. And we went to Southwest School here on Halloween. We saw a building filled with people, including the principal, dressed as the characters from their favorite books. That was a real treat to go through an elementary school on Halloween. There was learning. I thought, it was Halloween, so who knows what's going on. But, it was all business, and everyone's having a good time at it. But it was business. We saw the math. We saw some of the new language arts program going on. And I'm sure Bill and Kristen could have included this in their reports, really healthy atmosphere in the school, just a healthy classroom atmosphere and relationship among the students and teachers and the principal as we went around. So just a really positive experience all the way around. And now I will turn it over to, who's going to take over? Who's first?
We stay here or can we move up? We're good here.
Whatever you want to do, whatever you best make it.
Just speak loud, so everyone.
Very loud.
So this is the new configuration of the pre-K to third grade and the administration for all three schools. It does feel different to be in 3 schools versus 2 schools. We did take on the preschool that used to live at Forbes, so that is living between Little Wetmore and Torrington. So it's definitely not 610 students anymore, which feels a lot different in a nice way. I know you guys could say the same. The district mission and vision kind of guides our school improvement plan and what we're doing as far as being aligned to what Office of Teaching and Learning and Central Office has planned for us. All of the goals that you'll see coming up are in line with these.
So the portrait of the graduate, I'm sure you're all familiar with. But we are now at the point where really we have 3 different schools than we did last year in a whole lot of ways. Here we're made up of kids that came from both of the other 2 schools, and World of Wetmore, I don't even know anybody that works there anymore, and it's only been a year. So we're going to go backwards a little bit with our portrait of the graduate and really work with our new staffs to make sure that we take the portrait of the graduate as it was written by the committee and we fit it to our K-3, pre-K-3 students to make sure that we're preparing them to graduate with all of the skills that they need in the portrait of the graduate.
What is going on? Yeah, someone hold up your
Oh, you'll get to hear that song and So, these are just pictures of that and some of the skills that we look for, starting in preschool with a lot of these skills at, of course, the age-appropriate level of where we want them to be. A lot of work on things like collaboration with our new math program that's really giving us a lot of amazing opportunities to have kids working together in order to learn. So we're really thinking at very early ages about all of these skills. Yesterday during our professional development that we had at the new campus, we talked about a lot of these things, and maybe not directly talking about it, but there were so many connections from the amazing PD that we got yesterday. It was one of the best we've had that I remember in a long time, and it was good.
At the pre-K3 level, we've been very excited because the Office of Teaching and Learning has really welcomed us and received our input and feedback onto their high-quality instruction. Where you might think, how could that pertain to the pre-K3 level? They came to all 3 schools and did a faculty meeting where they gave us the opportunity to have pre-K3, including our nonverbal and our programs, to have input into what high-quality instruction looks like, what it feels like, what it sounds like, in all of the pre-K3 classrooms. What's exciting is our teachers were really engaged in that practice, and the Office of Teaching and Learning came back to us with a revised output of what high quality instruction is, which was inclusive of pre-K to 3. So the one vision, one team, every student lives at Torrington Public Schools.
This slide really just covers our new demographics based on the reconfiguration, so our total enrollment, the different race breakdown. At the bottom, you'll see the percentage of EL students and students with disabilities. I did put an asterisk on mine because I do have 6 self-contained programs living at Torrington School that are district-wide programs. So it does say 22%, but there's almost 60 students in our self-contained program at Torrington.
Yeah, and similarly at Global, we have 1 self-contained program and then the 2 full-day pre-K and 3 half-day programs, which are integrated classrooms, so there's a high percentage within those rooms of special education students. So not in any way to say that's a bad thing, but there is a little bit of a discrepancy there, and that's why.
And we don't have any programs in this building, we don't have anywhere to put them, but that would explain why our percentages are so low.
So onto the data. It's unfortunate that we are always first because you get our baseline data and you don't get to see the amazing growth that we make. But I think Michael Wilson shared some of the amazing growth that we made, and Torrington was identified as a school of distinction based on our growth from last year. So this, what you're looking at now, is our fall baseline data. They just came off of 10 weeks of summer, and they're given our district assessments in September. And this is where we came out as far as STAR reading, and STAR math, and DIBELS. These are typical. I know you say, oh my gosh, there's that big red line. That's kindergarten. It's very typical in kindergarten to have them come in and not master that initial DIBELS screening assessment. And we typically see that almost completely flip over by the end of the year.
In the spring, I always share the spring results so they get to see the growth, yeah.
So I'm not scared or worried about this, is my point.
It's actually exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's Vogel Wetmore's STAR math data. This is where we are. This is our baseline. We know we have a lot of work to do. We're rolling up our sleeves. The coaches are doing coaching cycles in math with all of the teachers. Our grade level meetings are really focusing on analyzing our checkpoints in our assessment data to inform our next steps with instruction. And we're really looking at previewing the next units and seeing, you know, unpacking those standards and seeing how that all fits together. So also to note at Vogel Wetmore that 56% of our staff and our students are new to our building this year. So over half of our building with staff and students are new folks.
So here at Southwest, you can get through yours.
Well, this is the Vogel Wetmore demos. It's just.
Okay, sorry.
Anything about it?
Good.
No, I just will add that
Oh.
it's a rebuilding year for us.
Yeah.
For all those reasons. There's a lot that we're trying to reestablish, you know, as you're saying, the new schools, we really feel that way. And that's been a big focus for us. I'm glad that you guys felt you had a good experience when you came to Vogel. We've been working really hard to create that atmosphere for our students and our families and our staff. So we're excited, but it's definitely, it feels like we're at the beginning.
So here at Southwest, our numbers of new teachers are small, but our number of new teachers to the building are very large. Almost all of the teachers were either at Torrington or Vogel Wetmore last year. So it's really building a new school, a new community, and 100% of our students are new to Southwest this year and have never been students here. So this is truly our beginning data. It doesn't look too bad for the beginning of the year. We're happy with where it is and optimistic about where we're going to go. So we want those green lines to be a little bit taller, and we know we'll get there. And reading data as well, or star reading, a little taller on those green lines in reading. The other thing this year, just clicking back to math real quick, is we do have a brand new math program. And typically what happens when you get a brand new program in any subject is your numbers will dip a little bit. I don't feel like that's going to happen with IM. It's really, really a great program, and we're working hard to implement it well. So I'm hopeful that we're still going to see a lot of great growth, because I see a lot of kids really talking more deeply about mathematics than I've seen before in Torrington. So I have hope. And the teachers are sure working hard too. And these are our double scores. And again, kindergarten, we don't have a whole lot of control about what the numbers look like at the beginning of kindergarten, because the kids come to us, and some are coming from our preschools, some are coming from private preschools, some did not go to preschool at all. So you just get a huge mix. And like the other principals were saying, and Sue, by the end of the year, the change that we see in kindergarten tends to be just incredibly impressive, and we're already seeing that stuff.
So we have two focus areas right now across all three schools as far as our improvement goals go. And I'll talk about the first one. High quality instruction being the district goal is also built into our school improvement goals across all three schools. Like Georgia mentioned, at the very beginning of the year, the Office of Teaching and Learning came around to each of our schools to give us the rundown of what happened over the summer, what went into that high quality instruction definition, get some feedback, really refine it to meet the needs of the pre-K to 3 level students. And we build this into everything that we're doing. Mary talked about grade level meetings, coaching cycles. It all goes back to this vision of high quality instruction. The goals that teachers are making in our TVAL meetings are all aligned back to this vision for high quality instruction. So we're really finally seeing a through line between what the district mission, vision, and ideas for high quality instruction are, all the way down to our preschool.
And one, just if I could add, the HQI is what we're referring to, the high quality instruction, but it aligns really, really well with what we've already been doing. So building thinking classrooms are books that, is that what we're going to talk about next? We're going to talk about that next.
You're fine.
But it's really exciting to watch the teachers happy to be doing this work because they can see the connections. And it was like you could feel the excitement when that feedback came back from our Office of Teaching and Learning, that really was clear that they had listened to what they said, and it was really exciting to see how excited everybody was. Excited. Sorry, go ahead and
And I was going to say, important too, because while we're very excited about the program, and I think we all see the potential, it's a very new model for how to teach math from the previous program that we had. And it does require a big shift in terms of how teachers are teaching, and that's where I think our coaches have been so critical, because they're really helping to support the teachers to make that leap. Because you have to make a leap. You got to do something different than what you did before, and they're the ones, the voices, and as well as the teachers who piloted, who can say, this is going to work, hang in there, it makes sense, keep going, because it is a big shift. So
Something else we've started this year with the Office of Teaching and Learning is walkthroughs. They came for their first walkthrough in October, getting to see in classrooms what's happening and then getting feedback immediately right after those walkthroughs together as the administrative team from the building with the coaches and the administration from Office of Teaching and Learning. It's really been helpful to kind of get some feedback on what we're seeing, and we have high quality instruction walkthrough look-fors that we're looking into classrooms to see, are we meeting those expectations? What can we do? What is really the next step? Just like in instruction, what's the next step for the staff? And we've been following that model and putting that into place in our grade level meetings and trying to really get everybody on the same page.
So the other goal that we all share is working on building our school climate and culture, and that takes a lot of forms, whether it's the work that we're doing with kids to recognize them. When they came through, we were working on, we were awarding some kids for their positive bus behavior, but supporting students to have good behavior across the school and have a positive environment where everybody feels safe. Part of that is having school-wide celebrations and assemblies and spirit days. And then we have, all three of us have new PTOs that are trying to get up and running and have been an amazing source of energy and positivity. I know the PTO at Bobo came in the other day just on a random day and stocked the teacher's room with just some nice treats, and it was such a boost, like the way those kind actions ripple out across the community, and then you see it build and just, you know, happy teachers help make a happy school. So we really appreciate how the PTO has been pitching in to help with that. We're working to develop our third grade students as leaders, thinking about that trajectory of kids growing along the portrait of the graduate, and getting our kids to be the leaders in the building to model those behaviors for younger students. A big part of our success is the support we have from our behavior team, so having a BCBA, having dedicated RBTs in the building that can help us work with kids who are really struggling with some emotional regulation. That, I think, is one of the biggest pieces. When we have that under control and students and staff feel like they have a positive learning environment, that is massive, so that support is really appreciated. Yeah, and then cultivating a culture of gratitude for our staff so that they understand that we know how hard they're working. And then other things that we're doing just to try to empower teachers to feel like they're part of these new schools is that distributed leadership and positive proactive communication, so that's what we're working on.
All right. Let me make sure the sound is working here, because the
You have to hear the song.
you have to hear the sound. I think I hear it on the TV, but it's not.
I hope Peter didn't write a rap.
If it didn't want to see it.
Live.
Yes, a reenactment. This was made for that. Torrington schools shining bright, Southwest leads the way tonight. Michael, so we're on a roll, building minds, that's our goal. Growth mindset in every class, we move fast. 3 grade schools standing strong in Torrington, where we belong. Together we rise with every cheer. K3 learners. Wetmore, we're on fire. Principal pay, you inspire. With face you while we reach the start. Our spirit days make us who we are. Torrington, we're never done. Principal Galulo, we're number one. K3 learners, K3 learners. Productive struggle, portraits clear. Grade level meetings, let's persevere. Office of teaching, guiding the way. In Jordan schools we see today. Pre-grade schools standing strong in Torrington, where we belong. Together we rise with every cheer. K3 learners, future is here.
Video is available in the packet for anyone who wants to see it again and again and again, or hear it again. Thank you very much. Before I open it up to group questions or discussion, I just want to point out that if it doesn't happen here, we know this. If it doesn't happen here, it can't happen later on down the line. So thank you for sending kids who are ready to go to intermediate school and beyond. Questions from the committee first? Comments?
No, thank you for the presentations.
Yeah, good, very comprehensive presentation.
Great information.
And reasonably quick, too. I will thank you for that. Bill, anything to say?
No.
No? Okay. Anyone else who wants to say something? Who wants to ask something? Well, I guess you did such a good job. You're all set.
I'm good tonight. That was excellent.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Appreciate it. And just as I've said before, if it, you don't have to stay for the rest of the agenda if you don't want to. We don't take questions from the audience at this point. You can ask people individually anything you want, but it's not a public participation format. Election day PD results.
Okay, so I will just give a little overview and then our team can fill in the details. It was a great day yesterday. We were so excited that we were able to host the entire faculty at the new complex. So we thought parking was going to be our wrinkle, but it all worked out. So the middle and high school campus was turned into TPS University for the day. You've heard about high-quality instruction. There were sessions on high-quality instruction. We had sessions on our new math program. We had sessions on productive struggle, which you heard mentioned here. So I'm going to turn it over to Lisa and Mary and Michelle and Joanne and see if there's anything you guys want to add, or anybody at the table, because everybody, all the administration was part of yesterday. So I think it was a great day. We had good feedback. We got to enjoy the new building. I think it's especially nice for staff from other schools to be able to spend time on the new campus. And it's just a beautiful space to learn in. So anybody want to chime in?
Well, the teachers did a fantastic job. We did an opening session on
you got to speak louder, loud.
Sorry, struggle is where learning happens, empowering all learners through challenge and perseverance. And teachers came away understanding what productive struggle looks like, sounds like, and feels like. They learned strategies that are evidence-based to support students, to empower students actually to persist. We connected productive struggle to standards and assessments and explored high-impact strategies. And then teachers went off and designed or revised a lesson to reflect what they had learned in the morning. So we really did a deep dive first into into the feeling piece of it. What does it feel like when students are really confronted with something that is deep and meaningful, and how do we help them to persist, and what are the tools that we can share and learn from to make that really visible in our classrooms and to empower our kids. So that was it was a wonderful session. The teachers worked really hard. They even took an assessment to see a smarter balanced next generation science or SAT to see the depth and rigor of what our kids have to do, and then figured out, okay, so how can we really on-ramp those skills for our kids? And then the afternoon, there were a number of different sessions, and teachers did a lot of curriculum writing and illustrative math. I don't want to take your thunder, but illustrative math worked through lesson pacing, optimizing assessment, supporting fact fluency with centers, enhancing math for linguistically diverse students, from observation to action, using student work to drive instruction, building thinking classrooms, we're continuing with that work, and then also understanding by design. So that is really about anticipating student need in your lesson design, which dovetailed beautifully with anticipating need and where students might struggle and what the difference is between a productive effort and an unproductive struggle. So that's a thumbnail of what we did.
And we were fortunate in math to be able to offer enough sessions where teachers were able to choose and really meet their own needs and be able to identify if they wanted to go to planning or thinking classroom or the centers. So it really was a nice choice for them to have in the.
We actually had trainers come in from our program, our vendor, that was built into the cost of the program, some professional development. So we had experts, from the actual company. So that was really nice. Joe, do you have anything?
Well, I just wanted to add that I think that all of the offerings supported the one vision, one team, every student. And that was really powerful throughout the day in every session.
Right, and I can't see you, Michelle, but I know you're down there, and just want to thank you so Dr. Baker's team, it's really all of our kids, right? So all of our special educators were part of the same sessions that all of our general educators were. So that's very important to us this year.
And other administrators chimed in too. Kelly and Georgia ran a session on learning-based play for our specialists. So for art, music, PE, CTE, how do you engage learning through play for our littles? And so that was a really, really great session.
Very productive use of the day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was a great day.
The buzz was incredible, I have to say. For the first time in a long time, there was really positive buzz up and down all of the floors throughout the entire school. Just hearing positivity about what teachers were learning and excitement in how they were going to implement their new learning. It was neat. It was really neat.
Yeah.
Committee members, any questions?
Just want to add, we also had some sessions that were led by teachers in the district that, those that are an expert in one area or another stepped up and led some too, and I think that's a resource that we have to make sure that we're always taking advantage of it. The one that I sat in was great. That was my only complaint, is there were not enough time slots for all the sessions I wanted to go to. I couldn't see everything.
And just as a little bit of an aside, Kristen Gagnon, our food services director, and her team put out a beautiful sort of continental breakfast-ish spread, coffee, tea, water, some really pretty pastries, and it just
Yogurt parfaits that were.
Yeah, it just added to how special the day was. We're in a beautiful space, we have this beautiful table, and I think everybody came away with a smile.
Good. Anyone else? Last chance coming up? Okay.
So that was for teachers. What about paras?
So paras had already worked their quota of additional days. So they have training, but it was not yesterday. They have never historically participated in every one of our days, bless you, and yesterday was just not one of the days. But we do have training.
I was gonna say, the para-training this year has been very aligned to, again, all around productive struggle and strategies to support students and giving them the extension to be able to have that productive struggle so that they feel safe in that environment in doing so. And we do that all through the PLCs now. So everything is based at the school, run by the supervisors on site. So it's very collaborative, but again, it's all that same theme so that we're all working from that one topic.
At our staff meetings, this is the second year where we're able to include paras at our staff meetings, and they're often, we call them staff meetings, but they're really just an hour of PD that we lead at the building that they come and participate in as well.
Right, just not yesterday. Yeah.
I just wanted to say from the high school perspective, the afternoon session in particular was very powerful. We were with their department teams, which there's never enough time. There's always, we run into that in education everywhere. There's never enough time for the teams that need to meet. So it was a very powerful session for us to be able to continue to work on curriculum in the afternoon.
Yeah, and I just piggyback the piece about choice because I think it was really critical that all of the folks who were teaching our new math program had learning about math, but the fact that we were still able to offer choice around that, I think that was very empowering for teachers and well received.
Moving on through the agenda. Probably no reason to talk about it, but it was sent out electronically, the Board of Ed self-evaluation instrument, and that was sent out this afternoon. I hope everyone had a chance to look at that. That will be going out to the staff after we've talked about it here, if there's anything to add or subtract. Anyway. Okay, we will run that past board leadership and then send it out. Probably send it out, that's probably what I want to do, so we have it in advance of the.
You want to send this out to all staff?
All staff.
Okay.
Well, all board.
All board.
All
Yeah.
board, yeah.
Right.
Anyway. Preliminary discussion, unearned first marking period grades. Background on this is, once upon a time, the superintendent of schools had the idea that giving a kid anything less than a 50 for the first marking period would doom them to failure for the rest of the year. And when they caught fire and became A students right away, they still couldn't do well. I'm sorry, I can't say this with a straight face. Because in fact, many of those kids don't get their act together. And when they do, to me, teachers deal with that. But anyway, the policy was, and we keep seeing in expulsion hearings, for instance, when we see report cards and so on, we see that a student got a grade of a 50 only because of board policy or school policy, whatever the exact comment says. And so that's why that has been on for a while, our list of topics for future meetings, and it has finally come to the top of the heap. And Mrs. Ferguson has some input to that.
Mrs. Ferguson actually is going to ask Aaron Sullivan to give a little bit of history, because I think you've been, at the high school is
Yes.
really where this plays out,
Yep.
right? And I think you actually even have dates in your head about this.
Yes, so the board policy in my research was in place, and I don't have the policy number with me, I apologize, was rescinded in 2022. But with that rescinding, it did not originally come out of the student handbook. So it was still a policy in practice at the high school. It has since been dictated as a lapsed policy, and we have been instructed not to adhere to any previous practice in regards to giving a 50 for that first quarter. So it is not a policy in practice this year. The messaging has been changed specifically And the directive is clear to not alter grades to provide 50 per board policy if the student did not earn that 50.
So it's something we don't have to deal with around this table, and from what you're saying.
Correct.
Teachers know and
Teachers
students
are
know
aware.
and
Yes.
don't practice yet.
Correct.
What about at the middle school? Do we know?
That I don't know.
So it would be the same, because the policy applies to all.
Okay.
The only thing that I'd like to just throw out there is that, we have another policy about social promotion and retention that is a fairly new policy. And there is language in that policy around making sure that we at the schools are providing enough support and enough opportunities for students to be successful. And that includes monitoring success, right? Making sure that we're aware and as the adults in the building, making sure that students who are in danger of failing are made aware of that at a very early, time, so that there is still opportunity to recover. Because there is some validity to the claim that, if you receive a 16 or a 20 the first marking period, it does become mathematically impossible to recover.
Can I speak to that?
Yeah.
So in the past 2 years, the streamlining and revision work that we have done at the high school on the MTSS protocols have really sharpened our ability to provide that monitoring and support as needed. And we're seeing great work out of that MTSS protocol.
Yeah, so I would think, that midway through the first marking period, right, students who are in danger, and we're doing that. We're looking at the list of kids who are bubbling up and saying, okay, those phone calls need, meetings with students, phone calls need to be made home, counselors are involved, making sure that there's constant communication and that there is a safety net and that children are being supported and encouraged to bring their grades up before they find themselves in a situation from which they can't come back. Yeah.
Okay. Anyone on the committee want to ask anything or say anything? Okay, so this is gone, and we won't be seeing it on comment lines, on report cards anymore, right? 50 for school policy.
We should not, no.
Right.
Okay, that's a mechanical, that's a list that you punch which comment.
Oh, you're talking about like the canned comments?
Yeah,
That comment has been removed
it's been removed.
from the canned comments,
So
correct?
we will never see it again. And the kid will get the grade that he earns, she earns, whoever.
Correct.
Good, thank you. Appreciate that, because that's been something I've had to listen to for a while, so now I won't have to anymore. Pretty much the end of the agenda, except for the mechanical stuff at the end, topics for future meetings. One thing I want to add to that is prompted by what Mr. Wilson said at the meeting on Monday night, that phys ed problem that's keeping us back, maybe keeping everyone back. In fact, the Waterbury paper had an article on the front page, and it was this morning, about that problem statewide. You had some insight into that, Mrs. Ferguson.
Yeah, it's a problem nationally, right? I mean, across the nation, because, I know, John, you were trying to, being tongue in cheek, but when you do this all day, right, and you're not getting the physical activity and we only can control what we can between within the hours that a child is in school. So we are working closely with our medical advisor. We are working with our health and phys ed coordinating teachers to try to put together a plan where we can address this during the school day, but we also need to involve families and to help families understand this is a crisis. The information that Mr. Wilson shared the other night, I saw ahead of time, and he shared with you the composite scores. There is a physical fitness assessment that has not changed in 20 years. It happens to be my opinion, and only my opinion, but I think it's shared with others, that the assessment itself is flawed.
The fact that it hasn't been looked at in 20 years is a problem, but it consists of 4 subtests. And when you look at the breakdown of how not just Torrington kids, but kids all over the state perform on that test, there are 2 of the 4 that our children really can't succeed at. It's the aerobics test, and so it's the mile run or the pacer. They don't have the cardio endurance and the push-ups. It's on EdSite. It's one of the assessments that you can go on to the EdSite public platform and look at. And it's really stunning when you look at the breakdown, and you can look at every district in the state. We have to do something about this, and it's everyone's, the conversation that we're having is that it can't just be the responsibility of the health and phys ed teachers while the kids are in school. It's got to be everybody. It's easy to attack this that way at the K-3 schools because they're always getting movement breaks. You walk into the classroom and they're dancing to the alphabet and, those kinds of things. We need to figure out a way to embed movement throughout the day in our upper grades. I'll just share a little anecdote. If you've been around a while, probably 15 years ago, you might remember, we got ourselves in trouble because we were requiring children out at recess to do laps of the playground, and it was because this is not a new problem. And we ended up on the news, in the news, forced marching. Do you remember that? And that's not at all what it was. We were just trying to do right by kids. And so we just have to be careful, which is why we're kind of, recruiting the experts to help us out.
And trying to get a playground put in at the intermediate school.
Exactly.
Thank you again for bringing that up.
Exactly, yeah, yep.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you on that. Very random, but I picked up my daughter the other night from cheer, and she gets in the car and she goes, "Mom, I'm gonna fail gym." I said, "Why?" And she's an honor student, so failing gym would prevent her from making high honors. I said, "Honey, what's going on?" "I can't run a mile. I just can't do it. I'm out of breath." And she's an athlete, and she still can't do it. So, 100, and she said, "None of my friends can do it either. We run out of breath. Our chest hurts, we can't do it." I'm like, "Well, stop complaining and do it." But I get it, because I can't do it either. But, yeah, it's definitely an issue.
So I think we'll be putting that on the agenda for some time in the future. Maybe hear a little bit more about it, hear ideas about what can be done. And I think between our curriculum responsibilities and maybe policy, I don't know, we'll have to talk about that. That will be on some future agenda. Comments for the good of the order. And I want to take the first comment, and that is just had an election, and some of us had our contracts renewed, and we have board. At the CAFTA forum last week, the 6 of us running for the board had a chance for an hour and a half to answer questions as posed by the audience and by the moderator. And at the end of it, and I've said this at the end of it, that there wasn't anyone on that podium who wasn't fit and ready to serve on the board. Only 5 got elected. That was the way that was going to work. But we will have new board members and new ideas, and I suppose that what I'm talking to, the point I'm speaking to, is to just thank everybody who was involved in the process. The political people who are finding candidates and promoting candidates and helping run elections, and to the candidates themselves, and I suppose to the voters who showed up and voted for people with any luck, with good reasons for voting the way they did. So I just wanted to say that. But so we'll start with Bill.
It was a good meeting. The presentations were informative. thank the people who put those together, because I know how labor intensive that is.
A good meeting. I just want to say I'm glad to see AI concerning the topics for future meetings. It might be stepping above, my bosses had to say directly to you, but it's a big concern for me to not have a sort of board guideline on it. So you have some teachers using AI actively in class, some that want it banned entirely, and so we could really use some guidance, from a higher level.
And that is the idea, to get in front of it before it gets in front of us.
Just a big thank you to the primary schools for putting together such a great presentation. So thank you.
Next.
As always, thank you for the opportunity to be here and to be at the table.
Just inspired by the work that they continue to do. It's wonderful. K3.
I feel exactly the same. It was really lovely to see. Thank you.
I think that, in addition to the collaboration and watching the Office of Teaching and Learning join forces to ensure that really all students are represented in high-quality instruction, it's been an amazing experience.
And that was a lot of the feedback that came from our teachers too, was just more ways, better ways to make sure that everybody is included. Just to bookend the other Michelson on AI, something that I'm pretty passionate about too, and the song that you heard was completely done with my input by AI, and no, that was not my voice, it was a completely made up voice.
No wonder your son sees the problem.
And during our tour, I had to say that, Mr. Knight, I was very pleased to learn a little more about your sense of humor, because it matches with mine very nicely, so thank you for that. And thanks for the opportunity for us to be able to present, we appreciate it.
Well, it's a great meeting, great presentations. Great presentation especially by the K3, pre-K3 folks, and it's so exciting to see this building of these new schools. They're new schools and new school communities, and the three administrations are working together, and it's really powerful. It's going to make a great difference.
Excellent presentation by K3 and pre-K3. I will say that it's one of the best ones I've seen. I didn't have any questions, and I think John asked me twice if I did. But really, you guys started with not only just a fully encompassing presentation, but you talked about the struggles. So often a presentation comes through and says, hey, here are all the fantastic things we're doing, and we get to acknowledge all those, and then some of us ask some questions. But you started with, hey, we're splitting up into 3 different schools. Here are the struggles we're having. Here are the ones we can control. Here are the ones we can't control. Here's how we're going to address it. And we look forward to telling you about it as we make that progress. That was fantastic. So please share with the rest of the team that was a truly excellent presentation.
Great presentation, and I'm constantly impressed by what you do and on top of your own work. So, thank you.
Great presentations, thank you for everything you do. I did want to ask, this might be a question for Sue. I ran into one of our other board members at the post office this morning. It's more of a topic for a future meeting. He had asked mainly to see, I guess, the curriculum for each grade level without making it too much work. Specifically, those were his words, don't make it too much work, but he wants to kind of see what the kids, what their classes are. And I could talk to you about it offline too.
Okay.
But I could tell you more what the concerns were.
Okay, I think
I said we could bring it up tonight, and then.
Does it have to do with Argentina?
No, I don't know why, no.
At least not yet.
Okay.
Thank you.
Not that I'm aware of.
Right.
And one last point, Mr. Colessa, would you like to introduce yourself? You've been sitting back there.
Yeah, no, I'm Joe Colessa. I just was elected as one of the board members this year, so yeah, I'm just excited for the opportunity. Just wanted to listen and learn from you guys. This was definitely a good first step for me here, so excited for the opportunity.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
welcome, Joe.
Welcome.
John, Jeff, congrats, man.
Yeah, thank you too.
Thank you. Looking forward to working with you for the next 4 years.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well, absolutely.
And And now I will pick up and let you ask your question from earlier. Was it a question or just a comment?
Thank you. My son was here and he wanted to speak, but we're not in the public participation, but he had to go, so. I was hoping you would make an exception to let my child speak out of turn, but it's a moot point now.
Okay. So, I guess I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you all very much.
This policy meeting to order at 6:40 PM. Marissa, you got the roll. Let the record show that Gary Euclid is absent this evening, and I'm chairing his place. We have the other two members here as well. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do we have anyone for public participation for policy? Yes.
Hi, me
Policy as
again.
well? Okay. Do we need to read it again?
Yes.
Okay. Members of the public and staff may bring to the committee's attention information, ideas, or matters of concern related to the duties and responsibilities of this committee. The committee will not allow comments regarding specific staff members or personal grievances. The time for individual remarks will be I'm so sorry. Apportioned according to the number of speakers. It will be limited to 5 minutes per speaker unless extended by the chair.
Hi, for the record, my name is Kaylee Blakesley again, and I'm here as a mom of a kindergartner and a fourth grader. I am a teacher at a local high school, and currently what I'm wearing is against your dress code policy. And so my question is, do you think I'm dressed unprofessionally? So I implore you to revisit the policy that you just established last month and to take away the gendered language and the unenforceable parts like the 2-inch and the 1.5-inch. Because if somebody tried to measure the length of my hem or my blouse, I would have a Title IX complaint on your desk quicker than you could say dress code violation. There's a model dress code that's excellent. That's what we implemented at Explorations. It's through the Oregon NOW, NOW, National Organization of Women, and it's everything you want for your teachers and your students without singling out the clothing that women wear. So I know that you just passed this policy. I chose not to get involved because I don't work for Torrington, and I have actually a lot on my plate, but I just had to advocate for the teachers as a teacher. Thank you for listening. My second question is, is there a policy regarding district-wide mascots? And is there a policy regarding contractors and using local Torrington contractors first before you contract to outside vendors? Because we parents at the Torrington Intermediate School received a communication regarding sales of spirit wear in the companies in Ohio, and we have at least 5 printers in Torrington that would probably like that business, so I wonder if that was thought of. Without any discussion, we were told that the mascot of Torrington Intermediate School is a raider. My question is it a red raider or a raider? Because yesterday, 11th month, 4th day, the Connecticut Insider called us the Red Raiders, and I can share that article with you. So there is confusion. And this was in response to an article that they did visiting the new gymnasium. And listening to the last presentation and hearing other meetings about trying to unify the district, for the record, is there a plan to unify the district as the Raiders? And will you allow parents and students to be involved in that decision? Because that's best practices, according to CADE and according to Culture and Climate. And we expect our students to use inquiry and be curious. And I'm wondering what my kindergartner will find if she starts to research a raider. 50% of students in Torrington are Hispanic. And when you Google the word raid, the first thing that comes up is ICE raids and immigration raids. And I wonder if anyone has thought about that. Now, I sent a very detailed, nice email last week to the superintendent and to the principal of Torrington Intermediate School, and I got a form response, and they did not answer my question, so now I'm here. Has anyone actually researched what a rater is and what that word means? And outside of an athletic context, and it being a positive that we're gonna like surprise attack you on the field, what that actually means. Mr. Kisco is a history teacher. I'm a history teacher. We can tell you what that means. And growing together, building Torrington, uniting Torrington in the year 2025, to have our district associated with being the Red Raiders, the financial implication of that, the cultural implication of that. I never wanted this to be about changing the high school or middle school mascot, but now that you're asking my 9-year-old to be proud to be a Raider, and my kindergartner soon to be proud to be a Raider, that's disturbing to me and a lot of other parents. And it should be to you if you think about it deeply. And if you choose not to think about it deeply, then how can you expect our students to be critical thinkers? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our assistant superintendent. Yes. She's taken some very good notes over here. We can't respond to you, unfortunately. Okay, discussion and next steps. We have the family and medical leave of absence policy number 4005, and we need to review the shipment and Goodwin model policy.
So this is all me. So I will give you the Cliff Notes version of why we have brought this revision forward. For those that are not aware, you may recall last year we brought forward some amended policy adjustments regarding a new law that had been implemented January 1st regarding Connecticut sick leave that then now affected some of our staff members. Well, as of October 1st, 2025, there have been 2 new components added now, which is Connecticut FMLA and Connecticut paid leave. So there's 3 whole new laws that have, well, they're not new, but they're new to education. Previously, educational entities were exempt. Now, as of October 1st, some of our staff are now qualified to be able to apply for Connecticut FMLA and Connecticut paid leave. So the adjustments that you see are just really kind of have added the components that apply for Connecticut leave. You can see on the shipment model policy at the top, it kind of explains the leave, the regulations. And then throughout, page 16 of your packet is the top of the shipment policy. And that just kind of gives you a paragraph to kind of outline the change for October 1st. And throughout the policy, those changes have been put in place just to showcase where the Connecticut FMLA, you can see on page 18, there's a section specifically about Connecticut FMLA that's been included. So throughout the policy, just anything that applies to Connecticut FMLA shipment has added the applicable language. 2 things that I wanted to specifically bring to your attention is there's one part on page 19. It says the board, the employer has the option of selecting the method. And if you refer to page 13 of your packet, I would propose that we keep the method that we currently use in our packet for calculating FMLA. So we currently use the method where we go back from the date of the leave. And that's the method that I would propose that we use. So it's method number 3 on page 19. But that's the method we currently use in our current policy. And I would propose that we do the same thing, because you can see that at the bottom of the highlighted note, it says if we're going to change our calculation method, we have to plan ahead and give at least 60 days notice to employees. I think the method that we're using works, so I would propose that we just stick with what's working. And then the other piece that I wanted to just give for the board's consideration, on page 21 and at the top of 22, there's some other highlighted portions. the light duty piece, we actually don't have that in our current policy, and I would propose that we put that in, because I do think we do that. I think that's been our practice to allow light duty for people returning from FMLA, so I would propose that we add that into the policy and include that, because I think it's just been what we've done. And then the top of page 22, there's language about the board's policy governing supplemental employment. But in our existing policy, we had a paragraph that was written by the attorney at the time that this policy was implemented. And I would propose that we just take the paragraph that is on page 15 of our current policy and add that into that provision of the Shipman policy. So those are the only other changes that I think I had to reference. Other than that, the recommendation would be that we adopt the Shipman policy as presented. So I'm happy to entertain any questions.
Thank you, Kim. Any questions regarding this change? Yes, Mr. Lafayette.
Just looking at the 4 options, because that option, and going back to what our current policy is for calculating, the option 3, there's no possibility of stacking, correct?
Correct.
So if a person were to take 12 weeks, or 12 weeks at the end of the school year, they could then potentially take beginning of the school year for a total of 24 if we went with option 1, which was the calendar year.
Correct. And the other concern would be if we use like the rolling method, and it's complicated, and I've never actually worked with anybody that's used the rolling method, but my understanding of how it would work, particularly with this new component of Connecticut FMLA and federal FMLA, somebody could at one point in time be eligible for one but not the other, and then because of the rolling method, become eligible for another one and be able to stack Connecticut FMLA and federal FMLA in the same space, in the same year.
And just being the TA union rep, the most beneficial to teachers would be the calendar year. The least beneficial would be that rolling method or the current method within our policy, as far as giving us that amount of time that we can use for a family medical leave.
Can you clarify that? Which one would be most beneficial for?
The first one, the calendar year, so it resets every January 1st.
Okay. And Kim, what are the drawbacks of that?
That somebody could take 12 weeks of FMLA in November to December, and then in January be able to take another 12 weeks of FMLA. So we would be down for a total of 24 weeks, instead of the way that it works right now, you get 12 weeks within a 12-month period, and it resets after the 12-month period following the first date of your FMLA. So.
And the only reason I bring that up is just because it was confusing to me, and I did a deep dive of researching into what it all meant and the amount of time that having used FMLA and knowing exactly how helpful it is, just wanting to have that clarification for myself and wanting to give the board that information as well.
Okay. Any questions or feedback? Josh?
Just that I'm pretty much in agreement with Kim. If that's the HR point of view on these issues, then I think we should go, as employers, we should go with that.
Jeff, you had something?
I did, but to your point, the rolling would be the least beneficial for sure. So I'm glad that we're not, we're taking a continuation of the existing policy. But the other question is, Kim, I believe that paragraph on outside work we talked about, that was a Shipman approved paragraph in the first place. An updated Shipman model policy.
Yes.
That we're going to take a little bit of our old previously approved Shipman verbiage and add to it.
Correct.
Yeah, thank you.
Do we need to decide which one of these numbers we're going to move forward to the full board, or discussion at full board to decide which is the best option?
Well, you can recommend to the full board from this policy.
Right.
Number 3.
Okay.
That's what they've presented, so.
As presented, right?
Okay.
If other members are in agreement with that.
Do you guys have anything on that? With number 3?
I'm good with whatever Kim recommends.
Okay.
Which was the year, right?
Yeah, if you look at page 13, it's the 12-month entitlement period. is measured forward from the date of the employer begins the leave, and that is what is outlined in number 3 on page 19.
Okay. So I think that's the one that's most widely used by.
Correct.
It is.
Yes.
Okay, so do I have a motion to send this policy to the full board with the using number 3 in this highlighted paragraph as the language on the proposed policy?
So moved.
And including Kim's thing on the,
On light duty and
Oh, yes.
outside employment.
Adding in the light duty as well.
I will amend my motion.
and I will second the amendment.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, let's see. Oh, thank you. We have topics for future meetings. We had discussed at Monday's special meeting a proposed policy for in-district staff members to allow their children to attend Torrington Public Schools for a fee.
Yep.
We have a MOU being put in place.
Yep.
While we have a policy being looked at.
Drafted.
Perfect.
You want us to develop something?
Correct, and we will look at that next meeting. I brought this up to Gary with permission. I would like to see the student dress code looked at as well. It seems, even though I voted for the student dress code and voted against the staff dress code, I feel that they're still both very vague. I know that we are dealing with the staff on a side note, but I do think the student dress code needs to be addressed, some of the vagueness of it that is being, I guess for lack of a better way to explain it, some students are being dress coded for the same thing, another group of students is not.
Okay.
Or vice versa. So I think it really needs to be a little bit more black and white, a little bit more cut and dry.
So you want it to come up as discussion for
I
next
think it
meeting?
needs to, yes.
Okay.
I spoke to Gary about it as well.
Kristen, we talked about, in that dress code meeting, that you guys were gonna give some feedback from the staff and everything, from how that was going. We thought it was a first revision.
Yeah.
And it may need some tweaking, but you were gonna,
For the students?
from the student one, what was the feedback from staff? Because that probably helps me. They're the ones out there enforcing it every day. So what the number of infractions was, some of that data, just to kind of compare from the old to the new.
Okay.
And see what the impact had been.
I think it's becoming a bit of an issue where there's not really a lot of clarification and parents are sending their kids to school thinking that they're within dress code and turns out they're not, or might not be. Any other topics for future meetings?
Eventually, we'll have to look at AI through policy as well.
Sure.
But I'm not sure we can put it on an immediate list.
That's a good idea.
We did add some language into our existing technology policies for staff and students regarding AI a couple of years ago, but I'm sure it probably does need to be updated
that's moving
and added.
forward.
It probably, as fast as we get it in there, it'll need to be updated, but if it gives anybody a little comfort, there is some broad language in our existing policies right now.
I don't understand it, I don't know how to use it,
Yeah.
so I don't know. I'm old. Okay, anything else, topics for future meetings? Okay, comments for the good of the order, I'll start with John.
Good meeting.
Quick.
Yes, that's what I meant.
Phil?
I'm good.
Josh, anything good? Marissa? Ms. Ferguson? No, thank you.
Thank you.
Couple things. Number one, congratulations to those who were elected yesterday. Look forward to seeing your work on the board and helping students and staff in Torrington move forward. This is my first policy meeting as the TA rep, so thanks for welcoming me. I do know that Red was taken out of our mascot many years ago. We have no control over how the media uses it, so Red was not something that we condone anymore or use. As far as the previous meeting, Torrington Middle School, we have not gotten communication about a change of the grades for 50, so if that is no longer policy, if we can make sure that's communicated, because I have not gotten that communication, so I was glad I was here to hear that.
All right, I will speak to your principal.
Yeah. And so, yeah, otherwise, good meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you, great meeting.
Ms. Creedon?
Thank you.
Good meeting.
Great. Man, you guys are good tonight. All right. Do I have a motion to adjourn? At 7